A 4.5% APY one-year CD on $100,000 earns about $4,500. But save that same $100,000 monthly, and you earn closer to $2,440. Same headline APY. Roughly half the interest. Here, one number explains the whole gap. 6.5 months. Picture a 4.5% APY one-year CD at Marcus or Ally. Drop in $100,000 on day one. And a year later, you walk away with about $4,500. Clean headline number. Now imagine you don't have it on day one. You save it from each paycheck. $8,333 a month. For 12 months. Same 4.5% APY. Same total. But your interest is closer to $2,440. The headline APY is identical. The interest is roughly half. Nobody lied to you. The headline APY is real. It just quietly assumes every dollar sits for the full term. The gap is invisible until you sit down with a calculator. The whole gap comes down to one number. 6.5 months. Let me show you exactly where it comes from. Why is the monthly version roughly half? One structural fact. A lump sum CD parks all $100,000 for the full 12 months. A monthly ladder only holds the new money that just arrived. Watch this. The December deposit earns interest for just 1 month. Only the January deposit works the full 12. Everything else worked a partial term. So, at the same 4.5% APY, the effective yield split. The CD earns 4.5% effective. The monthly ladder, about 2.44%. Same headline. Half the yield. In pre-tax dollars. That's $4,500 versus about $2,440. Same headline APY. But the maturity statement tells a very different story. The structure behind the ad is what split it. Here's the flip side. A standard CD is funded once, on day one. So every single dollar earns the full term. That single funding is exactly why the CD captures the headline, and the monthly ladder can't. Where does 6.5 actually come from? Weighted average duration. Pencil and paper makes it immediate. The January deposit earns 12 months. February 11. March 10. And so on down. December earns 1 month. Same amount each time, but the working time steps down. Average those 12 numbers. 12 plus 11, all the way down to 1, is 78. Divided by 12 equals 6.5 months. So the whole balance earn like a 6.5 month CD. So the math is simple. Multiply the 4.5% headline by 6.5 over 12. You get about 2.44% effective. Almost exactly what the monthly ladder produced. This is not a DC is bad story. The honest truth, the comparison lump versus monthly, is usually fictional. Most savers don't have $100,000 on day one. They have a paycheck. This math isn't unique to savings. It hits any product where new principal arrives over time. Mortgage prepayments, periodic stock purchase plans, recurring 401k contributions. Any headline yield times principal has to be cut roughly in half. Pull taxes in, and the gap sharpens. Interest is ordinary income on your federal return. Add a 24% marginal rate. Both get trimmed. Interest from a savings account, money market, or CD all counts as ordinary income. Add a 24% federal marginal rate. The tax comes straight off the top, after tax. In a no-income tax state like Texas, the CD nets about $3,420, an effective 3.42%. The monthly ladder nets about $1,853, an effective 1.85%. Same headline APY. After-tax dollars are 1.85 times apart. The whole gap traces to one fact. Only the January deposit got 12 months. State tax changes the numbers. 9 states have no broad income tax. Alaska, Florida, Nevada, Texas, and a few more. In California, combined tax pushes the CD to about 2.85% and the monthly ladder to about 1.55%. So, why ever choose the monthly ladder? Because the real comparison is rarely lump versus monthly. Slash, it's the monthly ladder versus no savings at all.
Case 1.
You need $50,000 in 3 years for a down payment. Slash, you save $1,400 a month. There's no lump sum to put in a CD. The ladder at 4.5% beats a 0.05% checking account. Case 2. The emergency fund. A common target is 3 to 6 months of expenses. Slash, starting from zero. Every month of contribution shortens the runway. And a high-yield account gets you there faster than checking. Case 3. You're bridging a gap before a CD ladder rung opens. Slash, the savings account is the natural staging area. The weighted average penalty is just the cost of optionality. In every case, did I earn the headline 4.5% is the wrong question. The right one. Did this beat the alternative actually available to me? Slash, and a high-yield account beats checking by an order of magnitude.
Now,
If you do have a lump sum, the structure that captures yield without locking everything is the CD ladder. Split the $100,000 across CDs of staggered maturities. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 years. Slash, each rung funded as a lump sum on day 1. When the 1-year rung matures, you reinvest it into a new 5-year CD. From year 5 on, every dollar earns the full 5-year rate. Slash, and 1/5 of the principal is accessible each year. The latter solves the weighted average problem. Every rung is funded as a lump sum on day 1. Slash, there is no DCA penalty. The cost is rate flexibility. What's the catch? If rates spike right after you build it, only one rung matures and reprices each year. Slash, you give up some speed of adjustment for locked-in term yields. So before you click open account, 3 checks settle most of the question.
1.
Convert the headline APY to the effective rate. If you fund monthly, it's roughly half.
2.
Run the after-tax math at your marginal rate. Slash, 3. Decide ladder versus lump. Have the principal? Ladder. Don't. Monthly beats nothing. One more trap. Break a 12-month CD at month 6 with a 3-month interest penalty. Slash, and you surrender about $1,125 on a $100,000 balance. That's a quarter of the year's interest gone. All of this is hard to eyeball. In the interest tool, the monthly contribution mode handles the effective APY directly. Slash, so you compare effective against effective, not headline against headline. The bigger lesson hides in the weighted average. The January $8,333 and the December $8,333 look identical on a statement. Slash, but at maturity, they earned 12 times apart. How early you start decides the result. To recap, the headline APY assumes day 1 funding for the full term. Slash, violate that by saving monthly, starting late, or withdrawing early. And the effective APY drops in a predictable, calculable way. So make it a number versus number comparison, not a guess. Put the effective yields side by side, and the decision stops being about the ad. The interest tool makes that math one screen. So the choice between a CD, a ladder, and a monthly plan is a number, not a guess. That's the savings ladder versus the CD. Same APY, half the interest. Explained by 6.5 months. Run your own numbers. And see you in the next one.